Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. Nice to see you guys early this morning. It's a late night, not much sleep. But thank you all for being here. Do we have questions? Yep. I think James White deserves it. It'd be nice for him. But, you know, it took a real team effort. There were so many plays. I got back to my room last night and pretty late and was still pretty wired. So I watched the highlights and, you know, you just, you know, go through the sequence of all those plays and how many critical plays needed to be made. And Coach talks about situational football, and there was so much of that went on to score two-point plays like we did down 16 against, you know, a great football team. And it was just a great team performance. So I'm so proud to be a part of this team. You know, we faced a lot of adversities over the course of the year and overcame it with a lot of mental toughness. And it was just a great way to really culminate the season. You know, we've gotten to this game before and not finished it off the way that we wanted. And, you know, it took a kind of a miraculous effort to do it. And just so happy that we were able to get it accomplished.
Tom, right here, Tom Lydon from Fox 25. First of all, congratulations. Secondly, a little housekeeping first. Do you have any update on where the jersey is? And then the third part of the question is this. What can happen? Is this the next step in the process to improve the relationship between you and the commissioner?
Well, I didn't. The jersey, I put it in my bag and then I came out and it wasn't there anymore. So it's unfortunate because that's a nice piece of memorabilia. So if it shows up on eBay somewhere, someone let me know. Try to track that down. So it's just such an exciting game, and you know, it's an honor to be here and have the commissioner present us with this trophy. You know, it certainly means a lot, and you know, my kids will be happy to see that trophy. They always ask, "Daddy, what about the trophy?" And you know, I get to bring them one home, so it's pretty cool.
Tom, Peter Schrager, NFL Network and Fox Sports. You mentioned the adversity and what you've had to deal with this year, both professionally and personally. Last night, when you get back, you get a chance to consult the whole thing and take it all in. What are your reactions when it's just you and your family and you're in an intimate setting on what this last year has been like?
Well, it's just, you know, it's a lot of emotion, and you know, football is such an emotional sport, and you know, you come after a game where it's a long game, it's 4 hours long, and there's the highs and the lows, and being in there at halftime, you know, we weren't feeling great about, you know, how we had played, but we still really didn't feel out of the game, and then, you know, got off to a slow start in the third quarter, and then finally got, you know, started executing a lot better, you know, certainly on offense. So you're pretty spent after the game, and I think there's a lot of emotions from the lows of, you know, not playing great to the highs of playing great, and then finally, you know, at the end, you know, it was just a great way to finish. So to celebrate with my teammates and then to see my family, it was just a night I'll never forget. So it was just a great win for our team. And like I said, there's so many great teams I've been a part of, and just happy that this team, you know, will be able to be mentioned with some of those other great teams because of ultimately the way that we finished the season.
Tom, just say it. Matthew Sherry from Gridiron Magazine. It's well documented that Joe Montana is a childhood hero of yours. What does it mean personally to surpass what he did and indeed any other quarterback by winning the 5th Super Bowl?
Yeah, I was, you know, blessed to grow up in the Bay Area at a great time, and you know, we went to a lot of 49er games over the years, and you know, Steve Young and Joe Montana were my idols, and they still are. So every time I get around either of them, you know, I get, you know, just excited to see them. So, you know, for me to be able to be a part of 5 championship teams is, you know, it's a great feeling just because I've been a part of 5 great teams, and all those teams have been different in their own way, and it's so hard to win, and you know, we've just been blessed to be able to be a part of a great organization that you know, we just, it's a lot of great teammates over the years, so many great coaches that put us in a position to win, and that's all you can hope for as a player. And, our coaches, they put us in the position to win, and then, we as players, we go out and we try to, lay it all on the line. And, it's great for this team to be able to lay it on the line like we did last night, with everything at stake, and then make enough plays to win the game against a team that, was a great team. They gave us all we could handle. And, I give them a lot of credit. They're a great football team. Matt played a great game. Their defense played a great game. They had pressure on us all night. And, again, it took a lot of great plays for us to overcome the deficit and the hole that we dug. But, we were able to do it. And, we'll be able to celebrate together, for a long time. So I think that's just a great feeling.
Morning, Tom. Sal Palantoni from ESPN.
Morning, Sal.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tom, after the game, I saw you on the riser and you were looking for your mom. And then you had that moment with her. Describe that moment and what it was like for you and your mother.
It was great. It was great. She's been through a lot, way harder than what I went through last night, way harder than what our team went through last night. And my dad's been there every step of the way. So they set such a great example for me, and, all families go through challenging times personally, but, she has a lot of support and a lot of love, and I was just happy last night to be able to celebrate with her. And, she hadn't been to a game all year, so what a hell of a game for her to be at. And, it was really great. It was great to celebrate. My sisters were there, my wife, I had all my kids, my little girl was there. And, so it'll be nice to go home and spend some time with them. They haven't had their dad around very much lately. So it'll be nice to, go home and be a dad for a little bit.
Morning, Tom. Frank Carpano from NBC 10 in Providence. I was wondering what your perspective was on Julian's catch, and if you've seen the video, and if your opinion of it has changed at all.
Yeah, I saw the catch on those beautiful screens in that stadium, and that was a ridiculous play. I mean, just unbelievable. Jules has had a great season, great career. I mean, he's matured so much as a player, and he's one of my best friends, and I trust him so much. He's always someone I'm looking for, and it was a big situation, and we've had a few catches like that go against us. And it was nice for one to go for us at a big moment. So it was a big play on that drive, and I still don't know how he came up with it, but he did, and it was a great play at a great time.
Morning, Tom. Ben Volen from the Boston Globe. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Last two Super Bowls, America's gotten to learn about a couple of unsung heroes.
Yeah.
For you guys, last time Malcolm Butler, this time James White.
Yeah.
His season didn't end so great in Denver last year. Can you talk about some of the growth you've seen out of James White this year?
Yeah, I was telling Coach earlier, James White is like my oldest son. Like, he just does everything right, and you can never get mad at him. Because even when he doesn't make the play, he feels worse about it than you do, So he's just the best teammate. He's an incredible player. He's been that way since he really assumed that big role when Deion got hurt last year. And I'm so proud of him and everything he's accomplished. I've seen him grow from a rookie, to working his tail off to becoming a big factor in all these games. And that particular role in our offense, in the Kevin Falk mold, in the, Danny Woodhead mold, in the Shane Vereen mold, and ultimately, what, Deion and what James have done has been incredible for our offense, because they're tough matchups, and not only can they run, and not only can they catch, but they pass protect too, and there's a lot of toughness, and they're so well coached by Ivan Fears, who's a great coach for our team, and he gets those guys so ready every week. And, it's just a great performance by him when we needed it the most on the biggest stage, and he really came through for us.
Hey, Tom. Tom, over here. We saw the emotion from you a couple times last week. We saw the emotion from you last night. I was just wondering how you went about compartmentalizing all of that for those 4.5 hours yesterday, and how important that was.
Yeah, I'm a pretty emotional guy, so that's and for the most part during the game, it's channeled toward, the emotion of the game and bringing my enthusiasm and energy for our team. Coach always says, we play once a week, and there's 3 hours where you need to be ready to go, and you got to put, everything aside over the course of the week to build for those 3 hours. And, our team's done a great job of doing that. So football is a game of energy and emotion and attitude, and this team showed that all those things, are positive. Even last time we lost was against Seattle at home, and we had 4 shots from the 1-yard line and couldn't get in. And, we talked last night about, or the day before the game about, even after that game, we came into work the next day, ready to go. And, there was no whining and complaining. It was like, all right, how are we going to get better? And if we're in that situation again, how are we going to get the ball in? And, we were on the 1-yard line last night for the whole season at stake, and we got the ball in.
2 more questions.
Hey, Tom. Yanni Caracas, WPRI in Providence. I know they're all special and unique in their own right, but how do you rank this one amongst the 5 rings you have? And what is it about Patriots Super Bowls always coming down to the last play?
Yeah, that's a good question. They have all come down to the end, and that's okay as long as you win. So it keep them exciting, and I wish we could get away from someone. We just haven't played well enough to do that. But we played well enough in a lot of these situations late in the game to get the job done, and we were able to make just enough plays last night to get the job done too. So it was just a great performance by a great team against another great opponent that I have a lot of respect for, and I give them a lot of credit because they gave us all we could handle. And but I'm just glad we won.
Tom, hi, Gary Myers, New York Daily News.
Hi, Gary.
Congratulations. I saw how upset you were in the locker room last night about the jersey. So I have 2 questions. First of all, had you intended to give it to your mom or to your parents, and did that factor into it at all?
Those are pretty special ones to keep, but what can you do? I'll take the ring, and that's good enough for me.
And then have you had a chance to reflect on it at the age of 39, what you've accomplished is almost unprecedented, or probably is unprecedented in team sports anywhere?
I don't feel 39. I hang out with a bunch of 20-year-olds, so that makes you feel pretty young. And, I've tried to just take care of myself through learning through a lot of positive and negative experiences with that. And when you're in a locker room for 17 years, you kind of learn what to do and what not to do and what works for you. And, I found probably a unique way that's a little outside the box that's really worked. And, I try to spread that message to a lot of other players because, football is a demanding sport. It's a demanding sport on your body, and your body is your asset. And if you are hurting all the time, football is no fun. And when I was 25, I was hurting all the time. And I couldn't imagine playing as long as I did because, if your arm hurts every day when you throw, how can you keep playing? And now at 39, my arm never hurts, and my body never hurts. And, even after I get banged up, I know how to take care of it and jump on it right away so that, I can feel good for a Wednesday practice. So it really allows you to be able to continue to improve because you can practice. And, hopefully I can keep passing that message on to a lot of younger athletes, that want to do the same thing because football is such a great sport. And I love it, and it's demanding, and it's taxing, but, I think it's the greatest sport in the world, and, I just love what I do. So, thank you, guys. Thank you. I'm going to take this home. I'm taking it home. want to hold it? It's yours. You're in it. Yeah, I'll take it.
Now just go.
Thank you. I don't know where to start. Let's say, first of all, this season and the way things ended last night was a very special one for me with both Brian and Stephen on the staff. It was a tremendous feeling to be able to put my arms around them and celebrate the results of last night. Amanda had a game Saturday, and she flew in for the game, was down there as well, so it was great to have all three kids down there on the field after the game, and Linda and Katie and Ashley. And I'm sure my mom was watching. I hope she was able to stay awake for the whole game. And I know my dad had a seat on the 50-yard line for this one with some of his close friends, Coach Harden, Coach George, and we're looking down and watching it. So I always think back to the last Super Bowl he was at with Brewski's ice bath. So just a lot of fond memories there. You know, this is a good football team and a tough football team that I coached this year. I have so much respect for the way our players worked, the way they competed, the way they just brought it every single day, every practice. Certainly wasn't always perfect, but it was always with a lot of effort, a lot of toughness, and a great will to improve and get better and correct the mistakes and just become a better player and a better team. And we maintained that all year, right to the end, right to our last practice on Friday over at the University of Houston. And you know, one of the great coaches in this game that I had the opportunity to work for, Coach Parcells, one of the things that he said that's always stuck with me is in boxing, the mark of a great champion is the one that can get up off the mat and win. And kind of feel like that's what we did last night. Even though the score was against us, it didn't really feel like the game was out of reach. We were able to move the ball. We were able to make some plays. We just didn't have enough points on the scoreboard for quite a while. And eventually we were able to fight our way back into it. We had some great plays from our defense, you know, after the onside kick. That was a big stop for us. You know, several stops, of course, and then after we had the kickoff and had good field position, they drove the ball down, and Julio made a tremendous catch on the sideline. We were able to push him back out of field goal range and have the opportunity to get the ball in the final drive with it being a one-score game. So offensively, again, we moved the ball, you know, had a couple turnovers in the first half, but we're able to move the ball, and I thought we had some good plays from our kicking game. Again, especially those kickoff coverage plays, a lot of good situational plays that came up in the game. So thought it was a tremendous job by our coaching staff. Josh, Joe, Matt, they did a great job with their respective units, and thought we once again tried to play complementary football, offense, defense, special teams, all that we get. So overall, my thoughts on the game and last night, the season. Bill?
John Crick, Toronto Sun.
John?
Especially after a night like last night, people talk a lot about Tom Brady's heart, his leadership, his grit. But do we all not appreciate enough, do you think, Tom's passing abilities, specifically his accuracy?
Well, I mean, I don't know how we could not. I mean, look at Tom's career. His accuracy is tremendous. He's been an accurate passer, I'd say, since really his second year in the league. I thought he made a lot of improvement in the 2000 season in his throwing mechanics and his throwing techniques. But by the 01 season, his accuracy was very good. So
I mean, I don't think anybody throws the ball into more tight windows than Tom does consistently. And again, I think, again, with all due respect, I think it's really inappropriate to suggest that in Tom's career he's been anything other than a great teammate, a great worker, and has given us every single ounce of effort, blood, sweat, and tears that he has in him. And to insinuate that this year was somehow different, that this year he competed harder or did anything, to a higher degree than he ever has in the past, I think is insulting to the tremendous effort and leadership and competitiveness that he's shown, for the 17 years that I've coached him. It's been like that every year, every day, every week, every practice. I don't care if it's in May, August, or January. Tom Brady gives us his best every time he steps onto the field.
Bill, Bob Glauber from Newsday. Congratulations. You've been at this now since 1975, every single season.
You don't have to remind me, Bob. I know.
You ever think of how long you want to go with this?
I really, my thoughts are just my commitment to the team, and again, this organization, what Mr. Kraft has done for me, and what a great partner he's been. And, I just want to do the best that I can for the great players and the coaches that I've had the privilege to work with. And I'm really thinking about, last year, next year, or some other year, just trying to live in the moment and do the best I can for our football team. And some of that is, planning. I mean, this is it's a great year for us. We're going to be in business next year. We're going to have a schedule next year. We're going to play that. So, we have to look ahead and prepare for that. But for right now, and up until a few hours ago, I put every ounce of energy I had into making and doing the best I could for this football team in 2016. So we'll worry about next year.
Of all your accomplishments, though, do you put this season in perspective of maybe this being personally one of your greatest coaching jobs?
Well, I think, again, that this is not about me. This is about a football team, and this was a great team. Again, this team earned what it got. It earned a championship because it went out there and performed better than anybody else. And they met all the comers in the AFC, and then they met the best team in the NFC. And Atlanta's a great football team, and they played great last night. I mean, it's heartbreaking. Would have been heartbreaking for either team to lose this game. I can't imagine how they feel as well as they played. But in the end, that's professional football. That's why we all love it. It's the greatest competition in sports, and this game couldn't have been any closer. So they're all special. Last night was special. This year was special. But, again, I don't want to take anything away from the 01, 03, 04, or 14 teams. They were all special, too.
Bill, Art Stapleton from The Record. Your players after the game talked about the mood at halftime, and that some players, Deron Harmon specifically, were walking around saying this will be the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. Did you believe that, and did you notice your players with a different mindset at halftime?
Yeah, absolutely. Our players, again, as I said, they compete every day, every play, as hard as any team I've ever coached. I mean, these guys they just work hard and they compete. And absolutely at halftime, and Deron was great. He's on the stationary bike. He had a positive energy that permeated through the team, although it came from a lot of other people as well. There was never any doubt in anyone's eye. We didn't have control of the score, obviously, but we felt like we moved the ball. We made stops on defense. We made some plays on defense. I mean, it's 21-3 at the half, but had we not given up the 3rd and 10, had we not thrown an interception for a touchdown, it's a 10-3 game, and it looks a lot different. But we did, and Atlanta made those great plays, so we had to find ways to overcome that. But we didn't feel like we weren't competitive in the game. We just weren't competitive in the score. And unfortunately, we got to the end of the third quarter, and we still weren't competitive in the score. We're looking at the same deficit at the end of the third quarter, essentially, that we had at halftime. We hadn't been able to close the gap, even though, again, I thought that there were signs that we were, maybe gaining a little bit of control of the game, but we weren't gaining control of the score. And it was a very unusual game. We didn't play much defense, and we played twice as many plays on offense as they had, or whatever it was. So But no, at halftime, again, this team is resilient. I thought the coaching staff, Josh, Joe, and Matt did a great job of just what we talked about, identifying what Atlanta was doing, identifying and clearly laying out the plan for the second half, which was a little bit different from the first half based on the way they were playing. So we got a lot of outside runs. We got a lot of man-to-man coverage, with an extra defender inside. None of those were unexpected, but I would say the percentages of them that we got were higher. We saw the matchups that they had in terms of man coverage were, they declared. So, we just tried to take the information that we had and coach it better and, prepare the team better for the second half. And I think eventually all those plays that we ran on offense, that our conditioning paid off and our mental toughness paid off. We were able to have good execution at the most critical time in the game, and that's really what, where champions are decided is how well you play under pressure in critical situations. And our offense and our defense and our special teams, Steve gave us 2 great kickoffs for field position that those guys responded in those critical situations.
Coach, first of all, congratulations. Will Gavin, TalkSport. Second straight Super Bowl where Dante Hightower made a game-changing play. One of a number of free agents on that defense with Logan Ryan, Alan Branch. But how key is it to keeping particularly Dante around to make sure this defense is still playing at the same level next season?
Yeah, well, again, absolutely. That was a huge play by Dante. Looked like Freeman had him in pickup, and Dante put an outside move on him and was able to knock the ball free. Without that play, I think we needed a play like that somewhere along the line in this game, and that was the time that we got it, and that's the time we needed it. So it was a tremendous play by High. He's been a great football player for 5 years, versatile player, inside linebacker, outside linebacker, setting the edge, defensive end, and pass. Some passing situations, very similar to what he did at Alabama, very similar to what Coach Saban told me he would do for us. He said, this guy will be on the field for you on every down. Just a question of where you want to put him. You can put him at the end of the line, you can put him off the line, and you can rush him. He can do all those things. And not only that, High's smart. He's tough. He gives us good leadership and a lot of the communication. We have some moving parts on defense, and Hyde does a great job of sorting some of that out, making checks, having communication with the front and getting that organized. And sometimes, especially against a team like Atlanta that challenges you with some tough formations and personnel matchups. Hyde does a great job of that and did it again last night. But that was a huge play they made for us. And again, I'm not sure we could have won without that play, but you could probably say that about 50 plays last night. But that's got to be near the top of the list.
Hey, Bill, WPRI in Providence. I know you don't like to look back or look ahead when you're in the grind of the football season.
Right.
And you stay pretty busy in the off season with the NFL calendar. When, if at all, will you kind of take a deep breath, soak this in, and when will you officially change the name of your boat to 7 Rings?
Yeah, working on it now. So, that's one of the highlights for sure. It's the NFL season. The calendar is what it is, and so, as of today, and as great as today feels and as great as today is. In all honesty, we're 5 weeks behind in the 2017 season to most teams in the league. So, fortunately, we have a great personnel staff with Nick Caserio and, Monty Alston-Ford and Dave Ziegler on the pro end. Those guys do a great job. But, look, in a couple weeks, we're going to be looking at the combine. Obviously, the draft all-star games have already occurred. And in a month, we're into free agency. So, not to mention all the internal, Patriots players whose contracts are up that we're going to have to, work with in some form or fashion, like every team in the league does. So now's not really the time to do that. I'd say if you don't do a good job with your football team in February, March, and April, you're probably going to see that in November and December and January. And so the downtime for us is really from the end of OTAs in mid-June until the start of training camp in July. Actually, it's kind of good that we're not allowed to be with the players at that time, so we can't see them. They don't want to see us. We don't want to see them. And we have another 6 to